everyone. Welcome this Tuesday to How to Know Your Speed in Network Marketing. I am Bess McCarty, Coach for Network Marketers, also called the Shrink of MLM. And today is a real special event, a very good question, because how do you know your speed? How do you know you're going fast enough to get what you want? For example, if you're driving from Kansas, where I live, to California, and I'm going 2 miles an hour, then how soon will I get there? So it's a very good question. And will I get there? You know, if I'm driving that slow in network marketing, will I get to where I want to go this lifetime? So let's bring on Jeffrey David Gamble, who I'm going to be interviewing today. And let's see. One moment. Not allowing me to add. Let's see. Jeff, I'm trying to add. Maybe can you? There we go. Add. There we go. Okay. So coming on is my partner in the MLM Millionaire Club School for Network Marketers, Jeffrey David. He has personally recruited over 500 people frontline and has some very good advice and experience to give about the speed. And we thought this was important. This is a little sample of the Sunday night class that we teach for network marketers. And I thought that it might be very good to know. Many network marketers really underestimate. So welcome, Jeff.
Hello, hello.
Would you say that a lot of network marketers underestimate how many presentations they need to do? Or they think, well, while I'm doing the work, how come nothing's happening? And
always,
how can they possibly? Is that a first stole that you have?
Yeah, my cat decided to crawl up and want to be involved in the show. So
I love it. Great, awesome. That's the cat's meow. So anyway, he knows where there's good stuff going on, huh?
Yep.
So let's talk about the speed in network marketing. How do network marketers know if they're going fast enough to reach their goals before they die?
Okay, so I mean, it all depends on what you're trying to get done, right? When I first get somebody started, the objective is to show 10 people as fast as possible. Get a list of 10 and get out there and show 10. The objective of that is to sponsor one person. The reason we want to sponsor one person is that creates excitement, that creates belief. From there, then it gets really, really interesting. Then it all depends on what they're trying to get done or what they're trying to do from there. If I have a new person to work with, depending on how fast they want to go, I might go to the next person. But if you get to the point where you're like, hey, I've been doing this for a while. I've been in network marketing. I've been in direct sales. I'm trying to figure out how to make this work, and I'm trying to figure out how to make it go. Here's just a good frame reference. What I found is there's a thing in the business called crawl, walk, run, race. Crawl, walk, run, race. Crawling in the business is about 15 presentations a month. Now, that's 15 presentations to 15 different individuals. And I have to frame it that way because some people are like, yes, I showed the plan 10 times. And I'm like, no, you didn't. You showed it to one person 10 times. You showed one presentation repeatedly 10 times. And most of the time what I find out is, and this is unfortunate, most people don't even know what a presentation really is. Sending a link to somebody is not a presentation. Sending somebody to a YouTube video is not a presentation. A presentation has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end. What you have to do is you have to get that presentation down. Now, there's a difference between a presentation, an overview, to kind of share with somebody. By the way, I threw the cat onto the massage bed. So if you just saw the video and you see a cat go flying, I just put him on the massage bed that's next to me. I'm actually in my office. I just looked at the video and it looked like I just chucked it into the air. It landed about a foot from where I actually set her. And she does this all the time. She'll crawl up on my desk and I chuck her over there. And the massage bed actually has a heater on it, so she tends to lay down and kind of hang out there. And then I, of course, have to change the sheet and everything else because then there's cat fur all over everything. So I kind of have the cat blanket if the cat's ever here. So getting back to this, there's kind of a crawl, walk, run, race. Crawling, I found it needs to be about 15 presentations. Stuff starts to happen, and stuff meaning is you start getting the proper timing, the proper reaction. The biggest problem with that presentation, 15 presentations, is usually not the number of presentations. It's usually just understanding if somebody knows how to give a proper presentation, period. If you do not know how to present, and that's what I was kind of saying before the cat crawled up on me, is there's an overview and then there's the presentation. The presentation that a lot of people are thinking in their head is the formal presentation that's done usually on a Tuesday night in a hotel room, or that's done on a webinar that's 45 minutes to an hour long. That's not the presentation I'm talking about. I'm talking about a quick, short overview, a 10 to 15 minute. Let me give you a quick overview of what we're doing. This is the Cliff Note version. Now, a lot of people in the industry warn against this. They're like, we don't want people talking. We don't want people saying. Here's the thing. If you're recruiting people that are not smart enough to follow a PowerPoint, if you're recruiting people that are not smart enough to follow through a one-page, here's who we are and here's what we do, they shouldn't be in network marketing anyway. They shouldn't be in direct sales anyway. This is a business of people recruiting people. So if your people aren't smart enough to read a one-page presentation, then you're in the wrong thing, you're in the wrong company, you're in the wrong industry, and you are the wrong people, period. Now, the reason why I like people actually going out and having this is what it does is it creates professionals. Emails do not create professionals. Websites do not.
Did we lose the connection? Can you guys hear? Can everybody hear? I think we lost, or I can't hear Jeff. You can hear me, Jeff? Okay, I can't hear you. Okay. Guess he's going to come back on. So we can add him back on. It's to be in your video. Approve. Okay. Get him back on.
Sorry about that. I keep getting calls from India. They obviously want to get in the business too. I don't know why they're calling me. They're probably, I mean, I always get sales calls because of the companies we own. So let's go back. Where did I cut out?
I was actually distracted. Presentations.
Amy was watching and she said, I cannot hear you. She loves the cat. I'm just wondering where we cut out. So overall, the difference of knowing what a presentation is, the difference between a 45-minute hotel presentation and an overview. If your people aren't smart enough to do that, you have a problem anyway. I would suggest learning your presentation. And I don't care if you're in an essential oil company or you're in a nutrition company or you're in a telecommunication company or you're in a credit company or you're in a skincare company. And here's the reason why. Is because I can tell anybody about what I'm doing and give them an overview, and then based on their interest, I can then get back with them. Based on their interest, I can get back with them. So here's what I've learned to do. It's, you know, when you are presenting, it's a little bit about the company, 3 to 6 points about the company, 3 to 6 points about the product, 3 to 6 points about the need in the marketplace, 3 to 6 points about the compensation plan, and 3 to 6 points about the timing and the system or the team. That should take about 10 minutes. Now, I could do a mock presentation really quickly and give you kind of an overview, but that's really not what this is about. It's about the speed. If you don't know that, my point is if you don't know the presentation, so this is like an 80-20, 80% of this is about getting the presentation right. Once the presentation right, then the speed is, am I doing 15 of those? The problem is if you're doing 15 of the wrong thing, it will never produce the right result, regardless of how you scale it or how many people you try to talk to. It has to be the right presentation. If you don't have the presentation right, what you're doing is not going to work. It won't work. I've seen people in different companies, different industries, different countries, different languages, all make this work, and they all had something in common. They knew the presentation. When they talked to me about their company, they knew what they were doing and what they were talking about. I don't like sending videos. Here's why, because people have gotten so busy and there's so much noise, people are not watching the videos. If you're not able, and here's the thing, if you're not able to communicate, this is my point. If you're not able to communicate with me what you do, I'll never get in with you. And if you want people who know what's going on your team, most of the people that I talk to who have a business, who are professionals, who make over $50,000, who have contacts, who have influence, who are people you'd want on your team, they're not interested in watching your video. They're not interested in looking at some pre-designed, sales pitch, or, oh, well, I have a 2-minute video instead. Okay, that's even worse. So now what you've done is you've wasted my time and told me nothing. Now I'm not only not interested, but I'm never going to listen to you again. And I know that seems counterproductive to what, is being taught in the industry, but I know the people who earn over 6 figures a year, and I know the people who earn over 6 figures a month, and I know some of the people who earn 6 figures a week. And every single one of them have something in common. When they launched their business, they got on the phone or they met people one-on-one and said, let me give you a quick overview of what we're doing. There's this company that launched. Here's how old it is. Here's the people behind it. Here's what's going on. And here's the need in the marketplace. Here's the statistics behind it. Here's their products. Here's either the science or the research or the proof that the products work. Here's the compensation. Here's how much money you could earn. Here's how much money you can earn. Here's proof of people making money. Here's a copy of the check, which you're not supposed to print online, but sometimes you can show people that on a sit down or one-on-one. And here's the system and the timing. Now, I approach this with do me a favor. And the reason I'm able to get in front of so many people is, hey, I need a huge favor. I need a huge favor. I want to show you what we're doing. So in case you run into the right person, you can refer them to us. It's really easy to get in front of 15 people and crawl in the business. Now, the reason we call that crawling is you're really not creating enough work. You're not creating enough momentum. You're not creating enough exposure in the marketplace to produce massive results. And what you want to have is not even massive results in the beginning. You just want a result. Now, what I've found is if you show it to 15 people in this time frame, the right way to do it, out of 15, you're going to find a customer, you're going to find a recruit, or you're going to find somebody who's like, I'll refer you to somebody. And that creates another opportunity to present. And eventually that process will produce people. The problem is, and this is the problem, is you're probably not going to keep up with attrition. Terry's with us, Tammy's with us. You're probably not going to keep up with attrition. What is attrition? Attrition is the people leaving. So if you're bringing 2 in and 3 leave on average, that's not fast enough, right? You're going backwards. If you bring 1 in and 1 leaves, then every single month, then what you have is a revolving door. And I see a lot of people in the industry have revolving door businesses. They bring 1 in, 1 leaves. They bring 1 in, 1 leaves. They bring 1 in, 1 leaves. And that's their entire business inside the industry. Now, they might have another person who signed up that said they're going to order, and they might have another person, but I'm talking about somebody that gets in to work and do it. So 15 is crawl. If you want to walk, I found somewhere between 15 up to about 30 is walking in the business. Now, here's the thing. I could walk to Florida from Indiana. I could walk to New York from Indiana. I could walk to California. It's going to take me a long time, but I could do it. If I started walking today, I could be out of state. I could be out of state by the end of the day if I was persistent at walking. You can walk miles. Dave Peters is with us. What's up, sir? So you can walk miles in the business, and you can actually make a lot of money walking in the business and finding other people who walk. But here's another thing in network marketing. People will usually do half of what you do. people will usually do half of what you do. So at least if you're walking, you have a couple people crawling. But if you're crawling, you're going to have nobody doing anything at all on your team. You're like, why can't I get anybody to do anything? Because your people will move at half the speed you're moving. So if you think you're doing 10 because you're not tracking it, you think you're doing 10, you're really doing 6, then your people are doing nothing. They're not even getting started. What do we do from there? After walking, then there's running. Running is somewhere between 30 to 45. You get to about 45, you're at a pretty good run. Now watch this. If you're running and you're actually bringing people in and everything starts working now you have a couple people who are walking. They're going slow, but at least they're moving. And those people have a couple people who are crawling. But if you're crawling expecting to find runners, nobody wants to run and have a crawler. Why? Because then you have to drag that person. And as Jim Rohn said, you can drag one. You might even be able to drag 2, but you're not going to be able to drag 3. At least for very long. You know, they'll drag you down. They'll drag you to the point where you're crawling or doing nothing. So at a run, what happens is what I found is somewhere between walking and running, you hit this you hit this law of inertia where you get past attrition. And if you can get past attrition and you add 4 and lose 1 and add 4 and lose 1 and add 4 and lose 1, what you're doing is now you're growing your business finally. Does this make sense? So then you go from there to racing. Now, what I found is racing is anything usually over about 45 presentations, 45 and up. 45 to 90, 45 to 100, just depending on. Now, that's not a speed usually you can maintain indefinitely. It's usually not a speed you can maintain indefinitely, although some people have. The way that to maintain that speed, we'll talk about here maybe on another call, or I'll mention it here in a minute. But to be able to maintain that speed, you're going to have some things in place to be able to do that. So if you're crawling, you have nobody on your team doing nothing. If you're walking, you might have a crawler eventually get on your team. If you're running, you might have some walkers and some crawlers. If you're racing, you get all 3. If you're really racing, imagine going so fast that you can attract another person that wants to race. This principle that I'm talking about is called the law of the lid. The law of the lid. It's also called the law of momentum. Where does momentum start? Momentum starts with you. Now, here's the interesting thing. To show 15 people, 30 people, 45 people, 60 people, to show it to 60 people, does it require you to have a degree? No. Does it require for you to be a professional? No. Does it require for you to have business experience? No. Does it require for you to be an expert in any area? No. Does it require for you to be wealthy? No. Does it require you to live in a big house or have a nice car or have a certain degree or know a certain amount of people or have certain influence or live in a certain town? None of that applies. And that's why anyone with any background can take off and succeed in network marketing. And that's what we like to hear the stories of. We like to hear the stories of the person that had no background doing this, that didn't have all the context, they didn't have all this, but they just simply went out and worked, they got in front of enough people, and it took off. So you can actually watch this. You can actually gauge the speed at which somebody's going by the number of presentations they're doing. So, you know, that was kind of the title of this, is Know Your Speed. I can determine the speed of an entire organization by what one person's doing on that team, the leader.
Right. And isn't it important to track? Because most network marketers think that they're doing more than they are. They're optimistic, or they're imagining that. And we say, well, gosh, I worked on my business, 4 times this week, but how many presentations? So when Jeff and I got together, we realized that we both been preaching that presentations is the thing to count. Anything else really doesn't. How many calls it took to get the presentation don't count as much as how many actual presentations you do. So keeping track of it and logging that, every time you do one, and the days of the week, then go to your sponsor and say, look, this is what I've been doing and this is the results I've been getting. How can I improve my results? but to just guess. Another thing that kind of fools network marketers is that when they go to the meetings and people say, all you need is 3 who get 3, who get 3, who get 3. Well, that sounds easy to do, but they didn't tell them how many presentations they're going to need to do to get the 3 who are going to become active. It's like about 5%. So they need to multiply that out and be honest at the meetings and say, well, if you want to get 3, you may need to show it to how many? If 5%, anyway, a lot. They'd have to figure that out right now, but they'd have to multiply that out and say, you need to be showing this to, 100 people to find 5 who may get active. And then of those, some will become inactive in time, and you'll have attrition. So that's why network marketers don't figure that in. When they go to a meeting, they just think, oh, all they need is 3 or 5 people, and they talk to 3 or 5 people and they don't get in, so then they quit. See, it isn't realistic and it isn't honest. And I don't think I've ever heard it put quite this way that you have, Jeff, about the crawling, walking, running, and racing. And not do we only we need to figure in the 5%, we need to figure in the attrition, because people will drop in and out. Would you say that you need to do at least, will 15 keep you ahead of attrition? 15 a month we're talking about?
Maybe. And the reason I
Maybe.
say that's kind of the borderline, maybe. It really depends on the quality of people you're showing and your marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
And just where your company's at. If your company has an amazing system already set up and your company has amazing meetings already set up, then if you're showing 15, and this is where one of the principles of John Maxwell, the law of momentum, kicks in. Momentum makes a leader look better than they are. Momentum makes a marketplace look better than it is. When a company has momentum or a marketplace has momentum, you can do less and gain more. It's just the way that it works. It sucks, but that's just how it works. If you haven't been in long enough, you won't know that one way or another. You could have 6 people in your meeting and have momentum. You could have 600 people in your meeting and not have momentum. It's not necessarily the number of people. And, everybody comes at me, is like, my company's doing this. But, I happen to know one of the guys in compliance. He does compliance for about 150 companies. And I'll sit down and talk with him, and he's like, that company's days away from bankruptcy. Although what they're preaching from stage is, it's amazing. So you really have to know what you're in, what you're doing, how it's working. And you're going to learn the lesson somewhere. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, my company, something happened. It happens in every company. So, one of the things is to get around people who are knowledgeable, get around people who've been in the industry for a while. Just because somebody's been in 13 days and they've sponsored 300 people, they may be a scary person to work with. We don't know how they put them in. We don't know what's going on. So that's kind of just an overview of, the speed of network marketing, what you need to follow, what you need to look at, how it works. What else?
Well, to make sure that we're doing, we can keep up to the speed or have the greatest results for the presentations. I'm just going to throw in real quick how to pre-qualify and choose your best prospects first. Present to those first, and those would be the ones that have a job, married, kids, house, car, phone, all of that, because these are going to be people with responsibility, and they're going to be more hungrier than someone who's not. So you could present to your best prospects first, and the more that you do, the faster speed you go, the 15, 30, 45, 60. There's a cool thing about that, because then the wider the net that you cast, the more results you get, and the more that you can find your special 20% who are going to be your favorite prospects to follow up with, that are most pre-qualified here, and also the ones that once they do join your company, that you can know who your top producers are and create a little inner circle and spend 80% of your time with those 20% producers. But you can't do that very well if you're just doing 15 a month. That you just won't have that inner circle, that top 20%. You won't even know what we're talking about with that. So we really need those numbers to be able to work these success principles. Who has a question? I'd like to say, yeah, go ahead. And if anyone has a question about this, we're talking about the speed of network marketing today, but also we will take questions about anything about network marketing. So you have 2 coaches here to ask. This is your chance. If you're watching the replay, we'd love if you type in replay. And if you would like to double the amount of people on your team, type in yes, because this is how to do that. You simply track how many presentations you're doing now and increase that. Anyone have a takeaway? Loved if you type in that. And also I want to say hi to everybody. Heidi, Travis, Mihai, Acasio, John, Amy, Kira, Wygard, Toby, Tammy, Terry, and David. I missed meeting you, David, this weekend at our event. So anyone have a question, takeaway? Go ahead and put that in. I'd love to hear your yeses too, because we're here to help you to increase your business. So would it shock you to know that most network marketers don't even do a few presentations a month? So if you even do 2 a day, you will be ahead of most network marketers. I think it takes about 2 a day to stay ahead of attrition, and that would be about 40, right? If you do 2 on weekdays at least. So that is kind of a standard DMO. I know at least in one network marketing company that I know about, they just have everybody, this is what we do. We talk to 2 new people a day. And again, the videos, like Jeff was saying, I learned from you, Jeff, that 70% of people don't watch the videos, so they kind of feel bad when they get back with you and don't, they haven't watched the video yet. So that's why we recommend doing a 10-minute presentation that you write about those 5 elements. That's the company, the need, the product, the comp plan, and the timing. And we actually wrote a great little book called Always Get a Yes. It's a real quick read book. And I'll put the link to that, but also say it. And that is mlmmillionaireclub.com/yes is the book. And Amy says yes. So I want to hear yeses too. I always like to hear yeses. And Jenna, hi, welcome. So we have the scripts, the favor script in there to generate agreement to hear your presentations. Then we tell how to do a 10-minute presentation. So that does matter. So the quality and the quantity both matter for you to get where you're going. Or else you may have goals and you get to the end of your lifetime and you go, gosh, I never did do those goals. I never did leave a legacy for my family. I never did take them on vacations and provide educational opportunities that I wanted to do for them. I just never got around to it. I never did, more than a few presentations a month, if any. And all of a sudden, lifetime's gone and you didn't realize really how few you did or how many it should have taken. How many here have, this is the first time you've heard something like this, if you type in yes, because many network marketers have never had that defined for them. How many is too slow? How many is medium? How many is fast? And if you don't know how fast your car is going, then how can you tell if you're going to get there before you want to or need to, or before this life ends? So very, very important. Hello, everybody, jumping on. This is a sample of a class that Jeff and I teach on Sunday nights called Quick Start Basics for Network Marketers. It's every Sunday, weekly, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And the link for that, it's only $25. It's really worth hundreds of dollars, but we're trying to make it available. We are making it available so that everyone can afford coaching and network marketing. So that is why the price is as it is. And there's you get the weekly calls, emails, a whole package of tools and information in my school, the MLM Millionaire Club website, and the company of a lot of the best people. We have people from 5 countries jumping onto this. People tell us that they're jumping ranks as a result of using these methods and sharing it with people and coming on like crazy. So that link for that class is similar, mlmmillionaireclub.com/basics. So /basics, the class, /yes, the book. The class includes the book. So that's real cool. On the weekend, we had a wonderful event in Indianapolis, the Breakthrough Team Building Summit. And we had a number of people from the class actually show up that I actually got to meet. Had 2 one of the students drove 6 hours to get there. Rich did. That was so awesome of you, Rich. And I also had a couple of friends, 2 ladies, drive down from Wisconsin to attend that. We facilitated 3 live coaching sessions there, among other really, really good speakers. But the ladies who had the coaching walked away launching their businesses. We also had a 14-year-old entrepreneur there and his father, who I know is just going to make waves in the world. Ethan, we're so glad, and Francisco, so glad you guys were there. So we're going to do another event in January in Indianapolis, and that is January 25th to 27th. And this one is going to be called Launch Free Enterprise Summit, and it is financial education, language, and mindset. We are releasing tickets now. They are being grabbed up. We'll put a link so that you can check into getting some yourself. They're on discount through Sunday night here. Hello, Lisa, welcome. Jeff, anything else?
I think that's about it. That's the speed. I mean, every day, Monday through Friday, we actually do our lunchtime leadership show where a lot of these lessons are actually taught. Anybody can jump on that. If that's something that, you know, you have the ability to do, it's on my Facebook page. You know, Jeffrey David Gamble. Anybody can jump on and just watch those. They are recorded. We put them on a YouTube channel, which is, you know, the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. If you type in MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show to either Facebook and or over to YouTube, that's going to pop up, and you'll be able to, you know, catch some of those. They're just lessons about, you know, how to lead inside of MLM, how to get your business going, and how to keep it going. So that's all I got for today.
Those are really popular too, and you can join that. You can see the replays also on the Facebook group MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show, and request to be a member there and be part of a group of 350 really, really cool leaders, because you are the people, you are like the people you hang around with. So every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, we do one of these educational live samples from our Sunday night class. Next Tuesday, we are going to present the 10 things you must do to succeed in network marketing. Wouldn't you like to know what those are and have a checklist and see if you're doing those, or which ones are your strengths, which ones are your weaknesses? Won't that be very valuable to know? So thank you. Please leave any continued comments, discussion. I would check back, and I'll leave the links to those things for you. We're glad you're here. We hope to see you next Tuesday and at the lunchtime shows. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.